Alright, welcome back to the Destination Unknown Dude channel. Chicks are getting massive. They're almost as big as the white chickens. It'll still be a long time before they start producing eggs. But one cool development is our feed supplier. There's just some lady down the road that's got a shop with chicken feed, duck feed, dog food. There's a feed shop, chicken supply shop, animal supply shop. She expressed interest in buying our brown eggs to our kuya that maintains the property. He went down there to get some food, and she asked if we were going to be selling the eggs, and we don't sell eggs. We give them away. But kind of interesting, we've got all these birds. When they start producing eggs, it might be nice to actually get a little income out of that. So the typical eggs at the grocery store are 10 pesos each, thereabouts. So if we sell her brown eggs at 5 pesos each, she can make a profit. And we get a little bit. But really what it's going to end up being, what I think it would end up being, is we trade eggs for food. Because we're always going to need food. She might like some eggs, so we'll just trade like for like, food for eggs, and that'll be nice. And my chicken buddy right here. So we'll see how that goes. We're experimenting here. We got a couple new developments. We're experimenting here with laying boxes. It's not going well. But we got some lemongrass in there, you know, keep a nice smell. They're big grass, so they won't get tangled up with the eggs as much as this. This is just grass from outside, and it's small cut, so it gets stuck to the eggs and looks messy. And we're hanging our water and food to help keep some of the dirt out, and it's working excellent so far. Good idea from Kuya. This is just wire, twisted wire, and he bent some rebar to make the hook. So we get these guys off the ground. That'll keep them from scratching at it and wasting it on the ground. Also keep the dirt out. So that's going to be a good development there. I think I'm going to add some more lemongrass to this. There's not really enough. It's not a comfortable seat. But we put these vinyl planks that we're using on our ceiling over there in the house in between them to give them more privacy, and they're not too keen on it yet. It's a new development, but we need something a little bit more reasonable for these guys to lay eggs in. So these are like little fruit trays or something. Fruit comes in, so they're discarded. So we're trying to make something out of trash. We'll see how it goes. They don't dig it yet, but chickens are not too excited about change. So we'll see how it goes on that front, but we definitely have a win with these elevated food containers. But these guys are chilling today. It's Sunday, 7 a.m. They're still waking up. Get a little foraging for food action. I gotta check and see what's up with these ants. I got some ants here. Looks like they're done. Maybe the chicken's been pawing at them and finished them off, but that's one thing in the Philippines they don't have is, guard dog, you showing up for duty? One thing in the Philippines they don't have is good granular ant bait killer, that kills a whole mound. You can get at Walmart, Home Depot, whatever. If you're coming to the Philippines and you're going to have some property, leave some weight in your suitcase for one of those bags. One of those bags of food, ant bait. Because you just can't get that here. They've got sprays that work temporarily, not very good for bug prevention. and definitely not good for the mound. But look, this is a bag that we have. You know, kills the whole mound, okay? Kills the mound in 15 minutes. I don't know if I believe that, but this was just some cheap crap. Got at Walmart. Put it in my suitcase and brought it here. You know, I left it in the Walmart bag. Put it in my suitcase and I brought it here. It's simple. So if you're coming here and you got some property, keep that in mind. If you get a little bit of ants, there's not a good remedy here. Bring that poison with you. A little hot tip for you. And if you don't be scared about getting property, obviously you can't buy it. You're buying it, but your Filipino is going to own it, and that's okay. They can, if you're married, they'll put you on the deed, so nothing happens with the property unless you sign off on it. So that's okay. And anytime you're married in any country and you have a divorce, there's going to be drama with your holdings, with your properties, with your houses, all that stuff. It's no different. So just because she's the only one that can own it, doesn't mean you actually own it anyways. Even if you bought it in the States, you don't actually own it. It's both of y'all. So anyways, don't be afraid of getting a piece of property, because you won't have to be a slave to it. You just hire a kuya. Everything that's happening here, everything that's been planted here, everything that's been manicured here, hasn't been done by me. I haven't done any of it. Zero. I could, but I don't want to. And having this property doesn't prevent us from going on vacation. We just pick up and go. We'll leave the kid here. He's got school. We'll just leave him here. We'll take off for a week. We've done that several times. Grandma will come up and keep an eye on him. Or Kuya or Ate will keep an eye on him. Basically, they just make sure that he eats, makes it to school and back, and that he eats. Everything else is autopilot. So, you know, don't be afraid of a female with a kid, or of buying a property you're going to be a slave to, or of getting animals, because then you got to have a farm keeper. Don't be afraid of any of that stuff, man. You just get you a kuya. Get you a caretaker. They can live on your property, or they can live near, because usually they're going to come from somewhere else, and you're going to pay them between 600 and 700 pesos per day. So do the conversion on that. That's around about 10, 15 bucks a day. You're going to pay them 15 bucks a day, and they're going to be happy to have that money, because you're going to be feeding them. You give them a place to stay. You give them food. And they're going to work. They're going to do the work that you need. And they're going to be happy that they're not answering to a bunch of bosses, got deadlines, got crap to do. You know, they can just be out here with their bolo, doing the thing, doing the work. And yeah, it's hot. You make sure that you got lots of water, and that you give them lots of breaks, and make sure that they're taking breaks, and don't get on their butt if you see them sitting around. They're going to be working. You have that, you monitor them, make sure they're not total slackers, but they'll be working. They'll be out here, and they're happy to do it, because they get satisfaction from doing the job, and they don't got jerk bosses breathing down their neck, and they got you paying them on time every time. And if you just do those simple things, you're a better employer than most of the people here. Just do those simple things. Pay them on time, treat them good, feed them good. Be good to them. They'll be good to you back. There's no problem. Yeah, you got to make sure they don't take advantage of the situation. That's human nature. But, if you get a good one, hold on to them. And getting a good caretaker and a good farm manager, not that you have a farm, but I wouldn't call this a farm, but getting somebody good that you can count on, comes to work on time, does the stuff, takes care of the animals, how it takes ownership, makes everything a lot easier. Gives you your freedom. You can go travel, you can go do what you want. and you don't have to worry about what's happening at your house. You know what's happening. You're taking care of business. And you don't need 500 cameras around to monitor them or whatever. We got one camera for security. We got one camera, one CCTV. That's all we need. I don't have a million cameras around here. Don't need it. I don't need to babysit. I don't need to monitor. You get a good guy and you know what's happening. All right, so that's what's happening here. We got the chickens cooking. I want to make some hollow blocks. We got a little bit of cement. Kuya told me that when they make hollow blocks here, that they use for construction, just like this building was made from hollow blocks, you can buy hollow blocks from any hardware store. He said one of these bags of cement, now this isn't typical cement like you're used to in the States, where that's mixed with the aggregate and all that. It's a one-stop shop. You mix it with water and you're done. This, you have to mix it with sand and you have to mix it with rock. Okay, that's just pure Portland cement. And what you do with it is you can actually get a hollow block molder, and I don't see it. But one of those bags, what he was telling me is one of those bags mixed with sand, mixed with rock. Actually, they don't mix it with rock when they do the hollow blocks, but just mixed with sand. One of those bags will make 50 hollow blocks when you buy them from the store. So they're optimizing their cost, and they're selling you, I think a hollow block is like 10 to 15 pesos to buy it. And it's super delicate. It falls apart if you look at it. But I've got that molder. It makes hollow blocks, and you can get molders different sizes, 4-inch, which is what this building was made with, 4-inch hollow blocks. That house, I think, was made with 6-inch on the exterior, maybe 4-inch on the interior, but don't quote me on that. I don't know. I wasn't there for the construction. But you can get 6-inch wide hollow blocks. And there are other alternatives to hollow blocks that are more energy efficient. They have the cement foam ones that you can cut with a knife that are cement, but they're fully aerated, so they actually provide some insulation value. And for the way they build here, those things make sense because they use columns. Like you see this column? They use columns for the structure. Okay, so that's what takes the weight of the structure. And then the blocks in between, they're not taking any weight. They're just making the wall. So it would be fine to have non-weight bearing, air-infused hollow blocks or blocks to make the construction, because you're using the beam here. That's what's doing the work. So that's solid cement for the beam, and then you can use the air-infused blocks for the wall and get some insulation factor from that. So that's kind of interesting. I'm looking at that just to keep an eye out of what's available. But I want to make some hollow blocks, and I want to use a more dense cement solution than 50 blocks to one bag. And then I'm actually have some strong hollow blocks if I need to do some construction. And the molder, I think the molder's over there in the Kubo. But the molder allows you to make your own, and it's the same hollow block that you get in the result as what you buy. I mean, there's no voodoo to it. You just mix your stuff, put it in there, smash it down real good, and spit it out of the molder, and then go on to your next one, making your next one. So that's how you do it with the mix. So I want to play with that a little bit. But what got me on the subject was we were originally going to put those guys just sitting on hollow blocks. So he was going to mold some hollow blocks and just set them down on those in there. But this is a better solution than that. So we're going to stick with that, and we'll get the hollow blocks just to have some spares on hand. It's always good to have some hollow blocks around for any type of projects. But you know, you look at a hollow block here and it falls apart, kind of like what the cinder blocks do in the US. Those cinder blocks are similar in function and in durability. They're actually more durable than the hollow blocks here, but they fall apart and they're a mess. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play with a little bit of that. We're gonna mold our own. It's labor intensive, but if there's one thing that you need to know about the Philippines and the Filipinos is they love playing with cement. Kind of like in the US where we love playing with wood and getting the saws out and making stuff. That's their wood. Kitty taking a shit. That's their wood. They love building stuff, and playing with cement is the number one ingredient. And you can see we definitely have enough cement sand to last any type of hollow block making operation. I'd like to get this burned down. It seems like every time we don't have sand, we need sand, and every time we do have sand, we don't need it. So that's what we're looking at here. All right, y'all. There's your update from the chickens. Oh, another one. If you're still listening, we're gonna put a bamboo fence around this water well. So we went and got these bamboo poles and got them delivered, and it was cheap. I don't remember how much it was, but it was cheap. We got 12-foot poles, and Kuya's got a measuring here. So he's got a template here, so for every piece he knows how long to make it. He doesn't have to get the tape measure out. He's got his template. So these are 12-foot poles, so we're just going to cut them in half, and we're going to have 6 foot. Let me zoom out. We have a 6-foot fence going around, and it's not going to go all the way around. We're only going to do 2 sides because we like the e-bike parked under here. We got to be able to drive it in and out reasonably. So we just don't want to look at the thing. We don't want to look at this mess anymore. So we're going to do 2 sides. So it's going to be this side that you're looking at here and this side over here, just so we can't see it from the house. So that'll be nice. Get a little bamboo going around here, and then once we have the bamboo, we'll have a spot for more plants and other stuff to grow around here. We'll make this thing look a lot more tropical. And Gene wants to remove the roof off of the Kubo and put a traditional grass roof on there. I think it's made out of bamboo leaves, but put a traditional grass roof on there instead. It won't be as durable, but it'll be cooler inside. And when people come visit, whether it's Gene's family or the neighbors or the staffs, Kuya and Ate, that are helping here. Ate cleans inside, Kuya cleans outside. They hang out in the Kubo a lot. So this roof is hot. So if we put a grass roof on here, it'll keep it cooler for them, and they might enjoy it more, or at least enjoy their time out there more. And let's see what else is going on. This kind of turned into an impromptu property video, so let me carry on with that, with the property tour video. We got plants going nuts out here. Gene has just kicked ass with these plants. I think I told you in another video, these were just free plants out here with the yellow flowers. There's just free plants lining the fence. These things are doing super good. These have bulbs, so they're super transferable, and they'll make puppies. But nice little blossoms on all these bad boys. And we got on the other side of the fence, you can see we've got the root crop. We just want to put something over here. It's not our property, and maybe we shouldn't mess with it, but we keep this mowed, and I figure, well, let's put some plants out here just because. Gene's got these things going. I like these traveler. This is called a traveler plant. There's another one over there. Those are nice. They get huge. I'll show you another one that's over there, where we're headed in a minute. But we threw these banana trees up here. Look, anybody that owns this property, if they want to do something with it, they're gonna have to bush hog this. Okay, so we're not hurting them by throwing a little bit, by maintaining it a little bit and throwing some plants up. It ain't hurting nobody. They're gonna have to get a tractor in here and disc that property up anyway. So what do they care? They don't care. So we got this new plants in here that are struggling, but they'll be taking shape shortly. These are African Talisai trees. These 3, 1, 2, and 3. So those guys are doing real good. Mangoes doing real good. There's the travelers. See how big these some bitches get? And they only keep 5 or 6 leaves. They're only just that. That's all they do. So they're doing real good. She has this thing chock full. Oh, there's the boss right there. Well, she don't want to be on camera. Where are you going with that?
Oh, it's all right.
Okay. So this thing is chock full of tropical plants. And I told her early on, I was like, I love the tropical plants with the big leaves. So she took that as a mission. She took that as a mission, and she has gone absolutely nuts with the tropical plants with big leaves. They're everywhere. Got little blossoms here smelling good. I can't remember the name of this, but these are almost impossible to grow in the US unless you're in Hawaii. But it grows like a weed here. So she planted this grass. This is Bermuda grass. They call it Bermuda grass. And we did just plugs. So it's taken up and doing well. It's got some dirt here where we're filling in the low spots. But she scalped it here on purpose as an experiment to see if it takes off better. And so it's struggling right here where these are walkways, and we're debating on whether we put the cement stones in for the walkways. But as you can see, I've got my mosquito catcher still in operation. The dogs know where to find their water, and they also know where the fan's going to be blowing on them. If they're hot, they go right for the front of that fan to cool off. That's working out good. We got some stones here, making it look nice contrast. Some stones here. We put some weed barrier before, and that just turned into a plastic nightmare. Just a mess of plastic. It low quality. It did fine with the weeds, but it just disintegrated into a bunch of plastic shards everywhere. So we're not doing that anymore. We'll just have to pick weeds. And by we, I don't mean me. So we got that going. We got a little cactus right there. This thing's growing up the side. We got plant craziness. And you can see she's got pots of plants everywhere. Over here, over there, over there, over there. Pots over there. There's pots everywhere of more that are in various stages of getting ready to get planted. She's running out of spots to put this stuff. I'm joking. She got plenty of spots to put this stuff. So we're trying. The one tree that we can't seem to get a handle on is papaya. And we've got some of the best papaya I've ever eaten in my life we've gotten here. So we saved the seeds, because that's one thing with papayas is they put out a hell of a lot of seeds. So we got this one that's looking successful. We planted 4. That one's looking pretty wimpy. We planted 4 here of those seeds, hoping they would get going and give us some papayas. And it's a work in progress. Other people around here can grow papayas, no problem, but we can't grow papayas at all. Let's save our ass. These are some kind of Indian trees to help give us some more hedge along the fence. And we're watering these things with water from the sink, gray water. So that keeps gives our water a job and keeps us from having to water those guys, because they get watered all day, every day from the sink. And it doesn't matter. Soap doesn't matter. If anything, it's extra fertilizer, nitrogen. So we had our trash back here, but we moved it away from the Kubo because they were hanging out in the Kubo and eating. Doesn't need to be trash there, so we moved it over there next to the chicken coop. But we got a little bit of trash drama out here right now. We haven't had trash service in a few weeks, so that's a work in progress. There's some disagreements between the city and the trash services. Somebody's not paying somebody, or something's not going the way they want it to go. So if it goes on too much longer, we're gonna have to burn some trash, which I don't like. I don't want to do, but if I have no other choice, I'll do. And it's fully legal and accepted in this area of the province. It's fine. I just don't like burning trash. I don't like burning plastic. I don't like burning anything unless it's yard waste. I don't even really like burning that. But we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully they get their act together soon, and this is just a temporary burning of the trash. But what can you do? Some things are out of your control. And we also got some drama with the power. We haven't used any grid power in the month, in this whole month, and we used barely any in the last 3 months, but we're getting a bill. Yesterday, we're monitoring the meter, and yesterday it said over the last 24 hours that we used 30 kilowatt hours. And that would be fine if we were connected to the grid. We'd be using that 30 kilowatt hours, obviously. But we've got an electronic meter, and it's adding numbers by itself. And I don't know if that's an epidemic here in the Philippines or it's just happening to us, but we're not really getting much service from the local utility about this. We've made a complaint. They said they'd send somebody. They haven't sent anybody, and it's been 2 weeks. So that number keeps going up, and they're going to want us to pay it at some point. They're not just going to look away and pretend we don't have to pay it. So I'm looking at what my options are. If I just remove the local utility and get a generator, or if I fight this out with them. So I'm trying to fight it out with them, and we'll see what happens. But we haven't flipped the grid over at all this month, and somehow we're going to end up with a bill of right now, if we paid our bill, it would be 3,000 pesos for power that we did not use. And there's nobody stealing power. Look, there's four houses on this street. Okay, it's easy to follow the line and see that nobody's using our power, but the number's going up on our meter, and I don't know why. The power company says, oh well, that meter was changed out in July. And so yeah, and it was whatever. And we've had months of zero power usage, several. But for some reason, something's gone haywire, and now the meter is going up. And I'd put an amp meter on the line just to see if I'm not losing my mind, and something's leaking, and we're pulling no amps. 0 amps are going through that power line. So it's a meter problem, and I'd like to think that it's an accident, but there's a lot of people complaining about how their power bill has gone way up, with no explanation. They're not doing anything different than they did last year. So I personally think it's an epidemic, that these meters are just adding on. Because who's overseeing that? Nobody. There is an oversight group, and I have sent them a message and made a complaint, and they're addressing the complaint as well. So we'll see what ends up shaking out of this. A little bit of pain, but we'll get through it. And if we gotta disconnect the utility, we'll disconnect them, because it's not going to take too many months of over 3,000 peso bills for me to justify the expense of a generator, maintenance, and fuel to give them the finger. So, all right, that's what we're doing. That's what's going on here. Like, comment, subscribe. My East is growing. Always got something to say. Nice cat with a tore up tail. Seems like the tail is the first thing that gets tore up on these cats. It's I think it's lack of nutrition when they're in the womb, when they're in mama's belly, and the tail is the lowest priority. So you got a tore up tail, it goes 10 different directions. Did you know that? Yo, you tried to chase it the other day and it didn't let you. All right, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. See ya.